Another live stream. It's been a while since I made a live stream, but we are live once again. It's been like 6 months since I actually made a live stream, so I don't know what I'm doing here. But today, I am actually going to be trying to diagnose a computer. It's this computer right here to be exact. So what's going on with it? Well, this computer in specific is a LGA 775 computer, and it bricked itself. Kind of. It's been an ongoing issue for, at this point, years. And I basically press the power button. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it boot loops, sometimes it just stays on indefinitely, and it just never works. I don't like that. So today, I'm going to replace the motherboard with a motherboard. And maybe replace that motherboard with another motherboard. I don't know. But one way or another, first, let's just show you some troubleshooting steps on how to take care, or how to diagnose a problem. But first, let's have some coffee. All right, so I'm just going to leave the computer up here for right this moment. So first troubleshooting step, remove things you don't need plugged in. Remove your Wi-Fi router thing. Remove, I don't know, this. You don't need that plugged in. Ooh, these are actually really hot. That's weird. Why is it hot? Oh, the computer's been running this entire time, but there's nothing on the screen. I know for a fact the cable is good, so there's something going on with the computer. One thing you can do is try to restart your computer. There's a little power switch here. Just completely power your computer down here. And then on your motherboard, you'll see something called a BIOS battery. It's a little button battery. It looks like that right there. Try to remove the battery and let it out of the computer for a few minutes. Press the power button and see if that turns on. No, press the power button just to make sure the battery is fully drained. That resets your BIOS. And in theory, hopefully, that actually solves your problem. And let's just real quickly, how do I want to do this? I can't do this one-handed, can I? If I just take the graphics card out by hand, please. I will show you how to take the button battery out if I can get this out by hand. There we go. Professional here. That is fine. Alright, so you see this little button battery thing down here. How you remove it is first, let's turn on flash. Or let's not turn on flash. I don't see the option to turn on flash. There is no option to turn on flash, is there? There has to be a way to turn on flash. Here we go. There we go. Alright, so you can see here there's like a little piece of metal here holding it in, and then it has plastic there and there holding it in. Just get your fingernail in here. Just like get this one side out, kind of. Just stick your fingernail in there and just pull on it, kind of. And like I've gotten the battery somewhat dislodged now, and we'll just yank on it a little bit more, and there we go. We got the button battery out, and the button battery looks like a button battery. It looks like a button battery. This out of focus. There we go. Lithium battery. Yeah. And when you have this out, of course, make sure your computer power supply is turned off. And then we can press the power button a few more times here. Okay. I know for a fact the BIOS is reset on this computer. That's not a doubt at all. So let's just plug this button battery back in. Not this way, actually. I plugged it in wrong. On this computer, metal side goes first. And then push it towards the... If I could one-handed do this. Push it towards the metal, and then it kind of pushes back in. Does that make any sense? Hopefully it does. Also, put your graphics card back in if you took it out. And let's, of course, have a Molex connector in the way here, preventing us from doing what we're trying to do. I'm sorry, I don't have a tripod here, so we're doing this one-handed. I'm not worried about damaging the motherboard. Okay, I gotta push this graphics card down. One moment. There we go. Okay, so we went over and reset the BIOS. Alright, we went over, put the graphics card back in, and now let's just turn on the computer and see if it displays an output. Let's grab our DVI cable, and let's put it in into the graphics card. I said let's put it into the, there we go. Let's put it into the graphics card. And now let's turn, nope, let's not turn it on. I have to turn the power supply on first. Now, let's turn on the computer and see what happens. Will it boot or will it not boot? I already know the answer. Well, I don't know the answer. It probably won't boot, but it might boot. If this motherboard's broken, I'm replacing it regardless. It sometimes is a brick and sometimes it's not a brick. We can see the motherboard is turned on right now. I mean, the CPU fan is spinning. Yeah, we have absolutely nothing here, which is, well, not good. It's still bricked. And that's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but it's okay. And you'll see here we have a red light on. I'm not sure what that red light is for. I do know one way to revive this motherboard. I'm not guaranteed right now. It's acting different than it normally acts. I mean, it's always acting broken, but it's acting more broken. One way of reviving it on this motherboard is take the RAM out and put it back in. That sometimes works. Or have one stick of RAM in here, that works. You put two sticks in and it fails. But I'm not going to show you that yet. So instead of taking the RAM out, the next things to help you diagnose what's wrong, unplug your hard drive. Just unplug the SATA. You don't need to have the hard drive plugged into the power either, but it can be plugged into the power. That won't damage it. Just unplug the data cable. The data cable looks like this. It's a little red one. Or yellow. The color of the cable doesn't matter. It's a small one that's plugged into your hard drive. Alright, so that's probably not going to help anything. So next, if your graphics card has cables plugged into it, unplug both cables. The cables have a little squeeze tab pin on them, as you cannot see because the camera doesn't focus. Camera, hello. But there's like a little clip on here, and you can just squeeze the clip and unplug the two things. You can squeeze the clip and unplug the two wires plugged into your graphics card and plug them back in. Just make sure they're all the way seated. And that might make your computer work if your graphics card is not plugged in properly. So just, of course, unplug it and plug it back in. And then make sure you're doing all this with the power supply turned off, by the way. Here's the CPU fan down. Not CPU fan. Here's the CPU power pin down here. It's the 4-pin connector. Just unplug it. There's a little pin on it. You can not see anything. Okay, how do I show you this? What's this? Let's get this out of the way so you can see. Okay, so the CPU power pin, it has another little clip on it. So we can squeeze the clip and pull up. And by pulling up on this clip, it might take some effort. But when we pull up on this clip, we'll unplug the CPU power, and then we'll plug it back in. It's like hard to get in there, but just so you know, now it's unplugged. And now we'll just fail to use the camera, and we'll plug it back in. How does it plug back in? I'm trying to do this looking through the camera, so I see what you're seeing. Okay, let's look at it in person. Okay, what's going on? Okay, there we go. So, power supply is plugged back into the CPU. Now we have a big ribbon cable right here, also known as a 24-pin connector. And on the 24-pin connector, there usually is another tab. In this case, it's right here. But when you pull on this, it flexes the whole motherboard because it's such a big tab, or it's such a big plug. But you can just press the tab down. Somehow, I gotta get my hands in here. You press the tab down. Preferably use two hands for this. One to hold the motherboard down. And just pull this thing out. And then, okay, once it's out, you can plug it back in. And you can see, you see the motherboard flexing? That's horrible for it, okay? This motherboard's trash, but if your motherboard is flexing like this, put your finger under the motherboard. Alright, just do something like this, just to help support it, so you don't flex it all over the place. Alright, well, we got this thing plugged back in, right? Let's take a look. How do I see this? How do I show you this, actually? Yeah, we got this close enough to plug back in. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. Yeah, it's close enough. Alright, so now we've basically unplugged everything in terms of the power connectors plugged into the computer, so it should have no problem working now. So let's turn the power supply back on and see what happens. It's not going to work, but I'm just showing you how to diagnose a problem. And I am stopping the CPU fan with a cable. Don't do that. Either way, let's give it some time here to sort out what it's doing. Okay, it's not going to do anything, but we'll let it sort itself out. Just give it a few minutes here. Taking my socks off. Or I'm trying to take my socks off. It doesn't... I never noticed how hard it is to take socks off without hands. I'm just trying to take it off with my feet. My feet are itching, so I'm trying to like do that. I'm like standing on the toes of the socks, trying to like get them to come off. Okay, I succeeded. Either way, as you can see, I mean, it's still turned on down here, but we have no post. So that either leads us to the power supply has failed, the RAM is not plugged in right, the CPU has failed. Well, actually, that's pretty much it. The RAM, the graphics card, CPU, or power supply. That's what we are aimed down to. It cannot be a connector not plugged in right, because we verified the connectors. We unplugged them back in. All right. So before we start going and throwing parts at this and parts cannoning it, let's take the RAM out. So first, power down your computer again. All right. Use the power supply to turn it off. And you can also verify there's no more power in it. Just press the power button a few times here. And then when you see the RAM here, you'll see on both sides of the RAM, there are little tabs. You cannot see, actually. Let's get stuff out of the way here. You can see on the RAM here, there's a tab for each slot, all right? Tab here, tab here, tab here, tab here. 2 tabs for each slot. Some motherboards only have 1 tab for each slot. Some have 2. Mine has 2. Yours could have 1. But let's just unplug the RAM by pushing on these things, the little tabs, and opening them. All right, we are going to take out some of the RAM. We're going to take 3 of the 4 sticks out and see what happens. And drop it on the ground too, because that's extra good for it, you know. Yeah, no, it's not. Either way, again, verify this is plugged in. All right, so we've unplugged 3 of the 4 RAM sticks. So let's why isn't the fan spinning? Oh, no, okay, never mind, it's spinning now. So now let's check out what's going on with the computer here. Are we going to have a post? In theory, we actually should have a post. I say in theory because normally we would at this point have a post. Is there a VGA slot on here I could use? No. Okay. I have one other idea up my sleeve later. OBS, Open Broadcast Software. I have a capture card I can use to verify the cable's not broken. Because I'm starting to actually second guess myself and maybe the DVI cable is broken. How did your computer deep fry itself? Oh, I don't know. It just did. Well, this one didn't, but the other one did. All right, so we got a HDMI cable plugged in. Let's look at the capture card output right here. Just make sure it's correct. Okay, so we have absolutely no output on the capture card. Yikes. And no, not really. I mean, it's a computer from 2006. So that is no good time. That was not a good time for anybody. Well, actually, out of anybody, okay, I am probably the most... No. I am probably one of the most prepared people for a computer failure. Not a hard drive failure. That would be a problem. I don't have enough backups. But computer-wise, hardware-wise failures, that's not really a big concern. I have lots and lots of hardware, but the reason I haven't been making as many videos on this channel is because well, one, I've been procrastinating, but two, this computer I am trying to make a video with has a CPU in it. My other two motherboards for this socket don't support that CPU, so I just want to get this motherboard working and hopefully make the video on the Intel Pentium D. Yeah, but that's not going to work. But actually, no, it turns out one of my motherboards actually does support the Intel Pentium D. That's not broken, I think. I don't know. I got it off the eBays, so we'll see. It shouldn't be broken. It looks fancy, but we haven't got that far yet. So, does it suck that it's broken? I mean, of course. I'd like no computer to ever break, but things happen. I mean, this computer has been giving me issues now for years. Let's just restart it here. Let's just have the video go through the capture card and see if the HDMI cable works. We got something over there, but that's not an output. We should have an output over here. This is an entirely different cable. This is HDMI going to OBS. You don't have to know how that works. It's just basically this is a second monitor going through a computer. No, how do I explain this? This computer right here is displaying all of this. But then I have something called OBS open, and I have a wire hooked onto the computer called a capture card, and it's capturing nothing off of this computer. It's basically acting as a recorder for the monitor. You can record what's happening on the monitor of a different computer, but yeah, in this case, it's not really doing anything. I know what OBS is. Awesome. Either way, so far the troubleshooting we've done doesn't work. So let's turn off the computer. Let's give it a moment here. Yep, we are definitely turned off. So let's just take this one RAM stick out. It's time to wake up, I guess. Or why is an alarm going off? It's 3 in the morning. I don't know. So let's take this last RAM stick out right here. What's going on? Okay, last RAM stick out, and let's just grab a different one. Let's grab this RAM. Let's put it in the closest slot to the CPU. Make sure you line up the RAM correctly. Okay, wait a moment here. I am struggling. Okay, so do you see how on the RAM there's a slot on the bottom? You need to line the slot up with the slot on the RAM slot. So in my case, it goes this way. I'm trying to look at what I'm doing through the phone camera, but it doesn't work too good. All right, so push it down until you hear 2 snaps on each side when the little tab pushes itself in. And that means the RAM stick is in. So let's turn the computer back on and see if it posts. If it doesn't post, that leaves us with a couple things that could be wrong. Thing number 1. Oh, we got a post. So see, it's something to do with the RAM. Something is wrong with the RAM system on this motherboard. I don't know what it is. I don't want to switch the motherboard out to a different motherboard. The reason why, the different motherboard only has 2 slots for DDR2 RAM, meaning I would be limited to 4 gigabytes instead of 8 gigabytes. But I prioritize a working computer over slightly more RAM. Yeah. I know I probably should just finish up with the Pentium D with this computer because it has more RAM in it, but it's annoying. So we verified now something is wrong with the RAM, okay? The computer works if you swap the RAM sticks around and stuff like that. So one thing you can do is get yourself some compressed air and blow out the slots, all right? Make sure these little RAM slots are free of dirt, and then make sure the RAM itself is free of dirt. Reinstall the RAM and see if it works. If it doesn't work, well then, I don't know. It's either your motherboard or the RAM. Try each individual RAM slot in, let's say, try each individual RAM stick in, let's say, slot number 1. If they all work in slot number 1, just pick a working one, and then try slot 1, take it out, put it in slot 2, take it out, slot 3, take it out, slot 4, until you have a problem. And that will tell you if you have, let's say, a dead memory slot or a dead RAM stick. In this case, it's the memory slot. Something with the motherboard's memory slot is just broken, so it is what it is. Now, if that didn't do anything, that leaves you with either the graphics card, which is a possibility. If you have integrated graphics on your motherboard, so let's say you have a motherboard, no, let's say you have a CPU that has integrated graphics, and you have a motherboard with, let's say, a VGA port or a HDMI port, plug into that instead of using the graphics card. Or if you're normally using that, try plugging into the graphics card instead to see if the graphics card displays an image, because that might be what's going on. Your graphics card might have died, or your integrated graphics might have died. It's a possibility. If that doesn't work, you're left with two things. It's either your power supply or your CPU. Neither one is likely to break, but most likely it's the power supply. If you have another computer sitting around, most likely you can use that power supply to verify if this power supply works. All you have to do, again, is just unplug this big 24-pin connector and either the 4 or 8-pin CPU connector down here. And if your graphics card has cables plugged into it, of course, you need to have the right cables on the power supply for your graphics card. Sometimes you're labeled with the word PCIe. Sometimes they aren't. Yeah, I don't know. Just verify your graphics card has these cables, and if your graphics card does have these cables, make sure the other power supply you have also has these cables. If it doesn't, then you can't do this. You can't like swap out your graphics card unless you have a graphics card sitting around that doesn't need these PCIe plugs, which it's possible you might have one sitting around. Unlikely, but you might. I'm trying my best to make this a tutorial, by the way, but I'm stumbling on all my words. CPU-wise, if you suspect the CPU is dead, look for your motherboard's name. Like I think that right there's this motherboard's name. No, that's socket LGA. Never mind. Oh, down here. The name of my motherboard is right down here. So search that up. Not mine, but yours. Search it up and look for supported CPUs. If you see, let's say, AMD Athlon, try to find the cheapest AMD Athlon on eBay that your motherboard supports. Athlon is the cheapest CPU that your motherboard supports, most likely. Or if you have an Intel system like this, look for a Intel Celeron or an Intel Pentium, because most likely those are supported. Again, your motherboard should actually tell you on the website of your motherboard if your motherboard supports a CPU or not, but that's one way of doing this. My nose is running. I gotta blow my nose. One moment. Nose is blowing. Either way, yeah, CPU wise, it's a little bit more advanced, but basically, if you don't have parts to swap out to other parts, it makes things a little bit harder. A lot harder, actually. Either way, we have powered off the power supply. We need to start taking this whole computer apart, but I'm not going to take it apart where it is. Instead, we're going to make a spot for it on the table here because, well, I would like to work on it when it's lower to the ground. Quick question, what's up with the monitor? This one? Or this one? If it's this one, it's just, I don't have anything plugged into it, and it just says, check your signal. So, it's fine. My phone, by the way, is losing percentages rapidly. It is actually plugged into a cable, but I'm plugged into the computer. I don't really have a charger for it, so we're going to probably have a shorter stream than I'd intend. That's okay. Of course, it's always coffee time. It's 4 in the morning. It's coffee time. All right, so we have a big enough space here to work on the computer. So let's unplug the power supply, wigglify it out. There we go. Drop it on the ground and wonder where in the world that cable went. And unplug the HDMI cable. Now we just have to lift that up and plop it down there. I'm going to set the phone down for this because it's going to be a pain to do one-handed. All right. Coming down here. One more moment. We're almost down. There we go. All right, so here is the computer. Now let's start taking it all apart. Again, make sure your power supply is turned off, even if it's unplugged. It's a good idea. So now let's start unplugging everything rapidly. So first thing we need to unplug, the RAM sticks. Or RAM stick in this case, we only have one left. Let's turn on the flashlight so you can see stuff. Let's unplug the graphics card. Again, it has a pin on that connector to unplug it. And then my case has these little doors that hold the graphics card in. If your case doesn't have these little doors holding it in, you very well might have a Phillips head screw right there. Just unscrew it, and then your motherboard. No, and then your graphics card is ready to come out of the motherboard. And you'll have to push down a little connector. Some graphics cards block the connector, and you have to get like a little pick tool to pick at the connector down here. Not connector, it's a little tab. This motherboard, you almost have to use a little tab picker thing to get the graphics card out, but you don't need to fully. This is what I'm talking about, by the way. It's just this little thing down here. You have to push it down to get the graphics card out. If you push the graphics card in there, it automatically pushes itself up. But to get it out, you have to push down. All right, so we got the graphics card out of the computer here. I'm just going to leave the RAM right here. I'm not worried about it. Hard drive, we're just leaving it down there. Next, we need to unplug, let's just say this right here. It's just the SATA cables. The SATA cables have a little pin on them, or a little tab, I mean, on them. I said they have a little tab on them. They have a little tab on. They have a little tab on. They have a little tab on them. You push down on the top. Do you see it? Yeah, you push it down to get the cables off. All right. So let's get the little CPU connector unplugged here. The little 4-pin connector. It's a little tiny itty bitty connector, but it does serve its purpose. And let's get this big behemoth 24-pin connector out. Gorilla style. It's broken, it doesn't matter. And then we have all these connectors down here. The main one to not lose, by the way, is the one that says power switch. Because the power switch is needed to turn your computer on. Otherwise, you have to turn it on with a screwdriver or something. Alright. Either way, we have everything unplugged from this motherboard. Sure, the CPU fan is on here, that's fine. We don't have a case fan plugged in, so we don't need to unplug the case fan. Let's just set it somewhere out of the way. I don't know. It's just going to indefinitely be in the way, isn't it? That's fine. All right. So now we need to make room for the motherboard. Let's move an empty soda can. Let's drink some more coffee with a screwdriver in our hands. Perfect. And now we're going to use a Phillips head screw to remove every single screw in the motherboard. And they shouldn't be in super tight, but we can just unscrew them pretty easily. Try not to lose them if you can. That would be great. And keep track of them too. You'll need them later. Either way, this is a lot easier two-handed, but we don't have that luxury today to do things two-handed. So one-handed it's going to be. Every single screw holding the motherboard in has to come out. By the way, dropping your screwdriver on the motherboard is not good for the motherboard in most cases. So I don't recommend dropping your screwdriver on the motherboard like I did there. Do as I say, not as I do. That's what I'm trying to say. Dropping screws on the motherboard also isn't good. But it's a $20 motherboard. I'm not as careful with a $20 motherboard as I would be with a very expensive one or something. Now, here's an interesting situation. The screw right here is kind of being blocked because of the motherboard RAM tabs being open. So just close the RAM tabs as if the RAM was plugged in, and now we can get to the screw a lot easier. No big deal at all. Unscrew. And if you have a magnetic screwdriver tip, you can actually just carry screws with the tip. It's pretty neat, although mine's pretty weak. Either way, somewhere up near the top, there probably is more screws. Yep, top left where the CPU power connector is. Let's unscrew that as well, of course. There we go. Let's just drop it on the ground here, or drop it on the table here. And I think that's all the screws in my motherboard. Let's just wiggle it around and see if it comes out. It is not coming out. So that means there has to be another screw in here, and there is. So, right hiding behind the RAM here, there's another screw. I didn't see that. So, of course, close the tabs. Now we can unscrew the screw. Hopefully it doesn't fall down anywhere. There we go. All right, we got that out. And now, in theory, I can just lift this out. Yep, indeed. Whee! Motherboard's going for a ride. Where shall we set the motherboard? On the bed. By the way, don't set motherboards on the bed usually. The bed can cause static electricity. There's probably static electricity on your bed, and that can actually fry components on the motherboard. I've never had it happen personally, but it can happen, I heard, so ideally don't build stuff on your bed, but I don't follow those rules. It's never had a problem because of that, so I just don't really worry about it all that much. Technically, you're supposed to have a grounding, what's it called? When building a computer, you're supposed to have a grounding wristband. It's like a wristband on you, and it grounds you to stuff. Ideally, that's what you want, but you don't really need it. But ideally, though, like, you are supposed to have a grounding wristband, but you really don't need it. Either way, this is the motherboard I got. It's a fancy pants one, isn't it? Certainly is. It's from Gigabyte. And it's a very small motherboard. If we come look at the size difference, I am getting stuck on things with this cord here. There's a noticeable size difference between the motherboards here. I don't remember the exact names for each type of motherboard, but this is the smaller one. And it also actually comes with RAM. It comes with some G.Skill RAM. DDR2 RAM, 1 gigabyte. Yeah, we're going to do some amazing gaming with this. No, not really at all. It comes with a Core 2 Duo. 6400. Hopefully we can overclock with this motherboard. That's going to be nice. Alright. So now, let's just get some things out of the way here. So, this fan connector, it's kind of in the way. Let's just like jam it up there. That probably works. And then these cables here, let's just move them out of the way. And then we have this down here and this down here. They're little standoffs. Because we're changing the motherboard, the standoffs are in the wrong spot. So we're just going to take the standoffs out by hand. You might not be able to take it out by hand, though. This one on the left, I can't take out by hand. So we're just going to set the standoff down here. And we're going to get a proper tool for this. Not really. It's a dollar store screwdriver set here. It has what we need. So we're going to open up this machine, or this thing. Whee! Okay. And now we're going to realize we don't have what we need. Maybe. Unless this fits it. I doubt it does. It does not fit it. Okay. Well, where is the tool I used for this? One moment. I am confused. I thought it was in this case. But it clearly is not in this case. Is it on the end of this? Oh, yes, it is. Okay. So for these motherboard standoffs, it is a 5mm socket. And we're just going to unscrew these with the 5mm socket. Oh, this is a ratchet screwdriver. But it's kind of annoying, but it's all right. So what do we have to do? Pull on that or something to make it turn the right way? I don't know. It's still going the wrong way. How do we make it go the right way? Pull it down, maybe? I don't know. Let's try that. Still going the wrong way. What in the world? Okay. One moment. Okay, I don't know what I did, but now it's working. I just did the same thing I did like 3 times, but now it works. Sure, that makes perfect sense. Either way, we've unscrewed the little standoff here with that little 5mm socket. And there. So that leaves us with 4 standoffs currently in the motherboard. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. I don't have as many standoffs as I should, but I have enough. So let's just see roughly where this motherboard will sit. So let's line the standoffs up. So we have 1 standoff here, 1 standoff here. We have 1 standoff here, and we have 1 standoff here. We have 2 more we can install. 1 here, and 1 here. And I think that's all of them that I can actually install. Okay, let's do that. Oh dear, I forgot where to put it already. Oops. Okay. I'm watching. So I think it goes in this hole right here. Hopefully. Let's stick it in here. Come on. Twist. There we go. And let's twist it in by hand. And then let's try to get this broken looking tool here to work, please. It probably won't. Oh, it's actually turning to the right. Get it nice and snug. Don't strip it, though. It's going into thin metal. It will strip if you try. So just don't strip it. Don't strip it. Okay, let's take a look here a second time. So yeah, good here, good here. This, and this are for the CPU, so we aren't going to do anything with them. This is good. This is good. Okay, we need 1 right here. Top slot, okay, right there. Okay, where is it again? It's down here. For once, I actually will have the proper amount of, what is this called again? For once, I will have the proper amount of motherboard spacers in the case. Normally, I am lacking spacers, but because this motherboard is smaller, it just happens to be it has the exact number of spacers I have, or it requires the exact number of spacers I have, which is kind of rare, but I don't mind. It's pretty awesome. But now we've gotten a problem. Not a major problem, but a problem nonetheless. So, let's take this thing out for a moment here. So you can see what the problem here is. See, here's the CPU. There's no back plate on here for a CPU cooler. Now, they sent a CPU cooler in the box. Just this. It appears to be an AMD cooler setup, though. And they didn't send really anything else in here, so what do you do with the cooler? I don't know. It just kind of exists. So the cooler they sent, although it's a very fancy pants cooler, it's entirely useless. It would be fine on an AMD system, but this isn't AMD, so it's, yeah, sadly, extremely useless. You could hold it on with weights, that'd be fine, or maybe zip tie it on, but we aren't going to do that. Instead, we're going to grab probably the Intel Pentium D out of here, and we're just going to use the stock Intel cooler, because the stock Intel cooler it just clips in. You don't actually need a standoff. You don't actually need a back plate. Yeah, so how do I want to do this here? Because I have a lack of hands to do this. Well, first, let's grab phone. Not phone. Let's grab jacket. Throw it somewhere over there. Let's just try to move things to the left slightly better here. Drink some more coffee. Yeah, drink some hair too while we're at it. Bah, okay. I didn't intend on drinking my own hair, but that, yeah, it worked. Nope, not really. All right, so now let's start working on taking the CPU out of the old motherboard and installing it into the new motherboard. So how do we do this? Well, let's just flip this thing actually around here so you get a better view of things. So do you see this right here, these little tabs? So how you unhook the tab is you twist it to the left, and then you pull up. That's all you have to do. Twist it to the left, pull up. Twist it to the left. That didn't make a thunk noise, but you can still pull up. And then this one, twist it to the left. Get your hands in here somehow. I don't know how to get them in here, but somehow. There we go. And pull up. And now you're ready to take the CPU cooler off. It's going to be loose, as you see. But there's a problem. There's a cable here. So unhook the cable. You should not pull it out like that. You should actually grab it by the white part and pull it out. Because you could pull the wires out of the connector by doing it how I just did there. But I don't know. I'll just blame it on the fact I'm holding a camera. And now it's not coming out, of course, because it just wants to be stubborn. All right. Now we got this cooler out. Just fine. Thermal paste on here is good. Thermal paste on here is actually good. I'm not going to take it off and put new thermal paste on. But if you did want to, you could use just a paper towel and just wipe it clean, all right? Wipe it very clean, make sure there's no dust on it. If you want to be very fancy with it, if it's a high-end CPU, use lots and lots of power, you could wipe it off with rubbing alcohol with a paper towel. That is actually better than just a paper towel by itself. If it's all super glued on thermal paste, use a paper towel with rubbing alcohol. It will do a great job. Sometimes you have to use your fingernail though to scrape it off. In this case, you can see it's all moist. It's exactly how it's supposed to be because it's not old thermal paste. It's actually quite new. All right, we're going to try our best here to move things out of the way. And then we're going to start working on the next phase of the project, called dropping mice on the ground. No. Next phase. All right. So we have this thing right here, this CPU, the Core 2 Duo, or whatever it is. Ideally, in a perfect world, I would look to see if the motherboard works before swapping out the Core 2 Duo. We are not going to do that. We're just going to swap the Core 2 Duo out right now. So I'm going to use my left hand for this. Actually, ideally, I need two hands for this. This is actually a quite delicate operation. You'll see why in a moment. Okay, we're just going to set it here for a moment so I can get a better hold of it. Okay, let's move it further away. Okay, so when you're taking the CPU out of an Intel motherboard, or a modern AMD motherboard, you'll see here it has a whole bunch of little tiny pins on here. If I'm not mistaken, there are 775 little tiny itty-bitty pins. Ooh, I see there's like a little speck of dust. There we go, I got it. These pins are very delicate, okay? So you don't want to drop the CPU onto something. That would be catastrophically bad. So don't do that. All right, and taking the CPU out, you don't want to dig at it with your hands. You just kind of want to gently lift it out, if that makes any sense. And when you put the CPU in, you're going to see here, there's a slot here, and there's a slot here in the CPU, and in the socket, there's notches. And those are how you line up the CPU so it actually goes into the socket. By the way, this is a switch that nobody really should do. They should not be going from a Core 2 Duo to a Pentium D. But that's just what I do. Either way, CPU is currently inside the socket. I didn't get this stuff on my hands either. You can actually swap CPUs without getting your hands dirty if you're careful. And it's in here, okay? We can see here, like push it around, it's firmly in the socket. So now we close the lid, okay? This is going to feel scary, I know. There's going to be lots of tension, all right? You can see here, tension. And if you listen closely, okay, this one doesn't make the noises. Sometimes you can hear like pins being crushed when you close the lid. That's normal. It's fine if it sounds like you're breaking it if you do that. Also, let's put the CPU here in the bad dead motherboard. Yes, I did drop it in there. It's okay if you drop it in there as long as you're dropping it in flat. I don't recommend it, but I have no idea how to change up CPU otherwise. Either way, this can just I'll just yoink it over there for now. All right, and to make installation a little bit easier, I'm going to remove this single gigabyte of DDR2 RAM. It's entirely useless anymore. I'm not trying to like say it was bad when it was new. No, it wasn't bad when it was new, but 2024, that's like having 2 gigabytes of RAM in a laptop or something. No, in 2024, that's like driving a lawnmower across the country. All right, so now we need to get that in here. You might be wondering, well, Jonathan, why aren't you putting the cooler on first? The reason why, this style of cooler sticks out the bottom of the motherboard. It has these little pins, all right? They stick out of the motherboard. So this is right here, the top of the motherboard. And then this sticks out the bottom. You cannot install it when the motherboard is sitting here flat on the table. I mean, you can, but you'd have to like have the motherboard held up flat like this. It's not worth trying it. So let's just install the motherboard properly first. Not proper, there's no such thing as properly, but let's correctly install the motherboard. I say correctly because I'm installing it. Yeah, I don't tend to do things correctly. Ideally, you want to use a strong magnet to screw these things down, or a strong magnetic screwdriver to screw these down. But I don't have a strong magnetic screwdriver, and there's a hole right there, and I would like to not drop the screw into that hole. That would be horrible. It might not be horrible for you, but for my situation, it definitely would not be ideal. Either way, let's try to do. Hopefully, it doesn't fall off. Please don't fall off, little screw. Awesome. I would like to not take the whole motherboard out because I dropped the screw somewhere. That's what I'm trying to say here. All right, let's grab the next screw. Drop it on the ground 14 times. Hopefully not. Where does it go? Well, I got the 2 top ones in. I guess I can put it in right next to the RAM slot. By the way, this is a significantly worse motherboard to the other one. It only has 2 slots for RAM, but I cannot be bothered. Okay, I've bought 2 motherboards with only 2 RAM slots in a row. Not on purpose either. I didn't mean to, but I ended up doing it. Forgot about it. So, you know what? We're just going to work with what we have. It seems like 2 RAM slot LGA 775 computers are decently common, so well, we're just going to like use what we have and try our best. Yeah. We don't need the fanciest, flashiest LGA 775 computer to benchmark things. By the way, I think I just got thermal paste on my jacket. Oh yeah, I certainly did. Okay, that doesn't come out too good. Just an FYI, I shouldn't leave that sitting up here like this. Let's set it somewhere else for me to do the same thing again. Let's just wipe it onto our other clothes and cause more problems. That's exactly what we're supposed to do here. All right, we have one more screw here. Let's see if I can get the screw on the screwdriver. It's one-handed here, so struggle. And that is it. We've gotten all the screws in the motherboard. If you'd like, you can double check. Let's see, that one's screwed down, that one's screwed down. That one's screwed down. Screwed down. Yeah, close enough to screw down. And screwed down. It's not going to fall out, but you might as well, since you're in there, check them all. All right, now before we go any further, we need to know, where is the CPU cooler fan pins? I'm not actually positive I know where they are. It probably is that one. I don't see any other thing around here saying CPU cooler fan or CPU fan or anything. So it probably actually is that. There's a speck of hair there. Let's not put that inside the computer. So the reason why you need to know where here, let me just set this down here on this for a moment here to show you what I'm trying to say. The reason why you need to know where the cable is because the cable sticks out one side of the cooler, not four sides. So to make cable management nice, try to stick the cable out on the side where the pin is for the power connector. Either way, we've gotten this here. So what we need to do is turn these screws to the right. Remember, we turned them to the left to get it out, but now we have to return them to the right. Okay, and give it a little shake. We are definitely in the holes, so push down. That's all you have to do. It might feel wrong. I mean, it does to me too. You can see here it's a little bit wobbly. We didn't get it all the way in. Let's try that a second time. I don't like that. Okay, that's all the way in. That's all the way in. And then this one just kind of doesn't want to go in. Let's try one hand. Or let's try two hands here to push on it. I'm trying my best here. I'm using two hands. I'm like trying to do this without like overly stressing out other components. So what I was doing is I was lifting up on the cooler and then pushing down on this. Never made a clicking noise like the other ones, but I'm pretty sure it's solidly in. Cooler is in. Okay, close enough. We aren't doing extreme overclocking with this anyway. This is a Pentium D. I mean, Pentium Ds, they actually do overclock decently, I heard. But the thing is, you don't really gain much from overclocking them. Oh, check this out. So the CPU pins here for the power are actually all bent. Actually, they're all bent equally. So if I plug this in, it doesn't actually plug in because it's actually all bent. So what we're going to do is just do that. Just modify it moderately. Good enough. Okay. Ideally, you don't want that to happen, but it is what it is. We're getting very close to being able to power this thing on. Let's check. Is there dirt inside the RAM slots? No. But let's open up the RAM slots, though, because we need to start installing barely any RAM, because DDR2 kind of sucks. We have 4 slots of DDR2. It's not that bad. You can still install, 8 gigabytes of RAM. But 2 slots, you're limited to 4 gigabytes. Actually, you might be limited to 8. I think you can get 4 gigabyte sticks of DDR2, but that's not a cheap price tag, if I'm not mistaken. All right, RAM is installed. What is this for? This is actually an IDE cable, if you're wondering. Go to sleep now. No export. I'm busy making a video. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do a video every Wednesday and Friday. No, yeah, Wednesday and Friday, but I haven't made a video because my computer has been broken and I've been lazy. So I'm getting everything done. All right, so all this is sorted out now. So yes, this cable is going to be randomly everywhere. I'm not going to really use this cable. It's an open test bench case. The sides are always open on this case. I don't need a fan in here. And then we have the CPU cable here, which somehow I already kind of just knocked it out. So let's just fix it by hand. Let's just push these, or not. They're just kind of whatever. They're just not in there that good. It's not how I'd like them to be, but whatever. It should work. Okay. Either way, so now we have the slightly more challenging bits of this, which is finding out where the power switch goes. The power switch cable I told you to keep an eye out for, yeah, we need to figure out where that goes. I don't know where it goes. So we aren't going to deal with that now. Instead, we're going to install a graphics card, because we need to. And I went to. And I don't want to, actually. I just realized that's way too many steps ahead. What am I doing? We need to install the 24-pin power connector. Let's do that real quick. Push into here. And you'll notice if I hold this still, it's flexing the motherboard. So what I'm going to do is put my hands under the motherboard and push down on this connector. I'm going to use 2 hands for this to push it down, hopefully evenly. There we go. Okay, I use my thumbs to push down on each side, and I just wiggled it back and forth until I get it down with my fingers under the motherboard to help support it, because I don't want to break the motherboard. All right. So now we have this. This is for the graphics card, but that's actually still too many steps ahead. I'm just trying to find the CPU power connector. Yes, you could have installed the CPU power connector before you installed the CPU cooler, but I decided not to because the CPU cooler, I wanted more space to work with it, so that's what I did. All right, either way, power connector, let's just figure out which way it goes. This time it's pointed, this time the tab is pointed that way. On the other motherboard, the tab is pointed that way. Does that make any sense? So it goes in like tab. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Doesn't matter. It's motherboard dependent. Some motherboards is different than others. And let's see if I can like route this somewhere down here. Yeah, close enough. I mean, it's not. I'm not trying to make this look nice. I'm trying to make it work. There's a difference between making a computer look like an art festival or making it work. All right. Now let's toss in the NVIDIA GTX 970, which is going to struggle to actually fit in because there's cables in the way. Let's move some cables out of the way, and then let's put it in. Let's see, push it in how it's supposed to go in. So I've done something you don't want to do. Slow. Yeah. So what I've done is I've put it in sideways, and I got the thing cross-eyed or cross-eyed. So this is going to be a fun challenge here to figure out how to undo. This is like one thing you don't want to do. EVGA though. Yeah, EVGA isn't around anymore. How do I'm trying to get some kind of phone stand here set up. I think I'm going to be fighting this thing for a while. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Close enough. You're held up with a screwdriver. So, this thing is held down by the clip. Well, I can't get to the clip because there's a ram in the way. So, I guess I can use a little screwdriver here to push down the little clip. There we go. So, what I did, I had to push this clip in this way to get the graphics card out. And also, there's this little thing here that's falling out. I don't know what this is for, but it's in all motherboards. Or it's in all computers, unless it's been removed. I don't know why these things exist. I don't like them. I kind of removed them out of computers, but it is what it is. Take two of putting the motherboard in right, or putting the graphics card in right. There we go. It's in right. Close these little tabs. Good enough. Keyword, enough. It's not great, but it definitely is good enough. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Alright, so now we get 3 pins. Put you down here. Then we have 4 pins. And how do I need to do this? Okay, so 1 moment. 4 pins go this side. And then 3 pins go this side. It's like always opposite of what I think it is. It doesn't matter which way you put it in, to be honest. But how my cables are worn, like I've worn them out in a way to where they only easily go in one direction. Again, there's absolutely no harm in doing it any other direction. As long as you have these aligned right, it's fine. Does that make any sense? My cables are just bent. That's all I'm trying to say. So now we have the next fun bits. What's my phone percentage at? 29%. Okay. This is what was holding you up, by the way. Either way, let's just grab this stuff out of the computer. And we're going to put the computer up on top of that computer where I've been test benching it. 1 moment. This is a two-hand operation. Two-hand operation. All right, we have the computer up here. We've been working on it an hour, but this is what it looks like. Looks pretty good. Actually, we've been working on it more like half an hour to build it. Either way, so now what do we have to do? Well, we have to figure out where the power switch is. So I think it's one of these pins right here. I think, but there's one way to find out. Oh, there's 2 ways to find out. Look at the motherboard. What's it called? Look at the motherboard manual, or we get a power supply in. We grab ourselves a little cable here, so we can see things when it turns on. If it turns on, keyword if. Turn the power supply on. Just bridge it. That's what I'm going to do. But I'm making a tutorial for people who might not be as good with computers. Then don't do it. Don't do what? My S24 Ultra has more power than that PC. My A05 has more power than this PC. Probably. There's a Pentium D in here. It's to prevent movement of components in the expansion slot. Either way, so now you could either look at the motherboard BIOS, not BIOS, the motherboard manual. It would tell you where to put the power switch, Or, by the way, don't plug your hard drive SATA port in for this, because we're going to be turning the computer on and off a lot, and we don't want to just boot into Windows. But now we just need to figure out which one of these connectors turns on the computer. Oh, all right. Well, it was that one. So we turned it back off. Let's just get the connector right, just so we don't have to think about it. So we just use a piece of metal to bridge these little pins down here until one of them turns on the computer. That's basically all we have to do. Now we have to figure out what one of these is the power switch. Okay, it's the one here that says Power SW that I am struggling to get a hold of because I guess I have sausage fingers or something. I don't know. Sausage finger. I think I plugged it into the wrong connector. I did. Good job, me. Okay, let's plug it into the right connector. Oh, well, actually, I have the computer power supply turned off. It's not going to work anyway. Well, I had it plugged into the right connector in the first place, didn't I? I certainly think I did. There we go. Spinning up. Make sure, by the way, that there's no wires in the way of the fans. So now that it's sitting here spinning up, it probably will restart a few times and then post. Hopefully. Unless I forgot something, but it should have probably already posted by now, to be fair. The CPU I'm using actually might not be supported. That's actually a possibility. Also, I didn't really notice that capacitor. It's like flat. That's probably fine. No. Let's see. Is there... I'm just looking to see if there's like any kind of warnings anywhere on here. If that's not ideal, we shall not have these issues. Just for good measure, we'll do that. So we have to get at least one output, okay? I'll turn that off and back on. So let's see if we have an output onto this monitor, because one of them has to work. That's my thought. Also, how's the chat doing? All right, so it seems like the Intel Pentium D isn't supported right out of the box. But the Pentium 4, it supposedly was supposed to come with the Pentium 4, but it didn't. Oh, I just turned back on again, so I guess it's boot looping for a while. Yeah, I'll just leave it alone for a while and see if it turns on. I doubt it at this point, but it's possible. Maybe I need to remove the BIOS battery, actually. Let's do that for a moment. It's not a bad idea. I didn't expect to be troubleshooting this once I installed it, but apparently that's what we're doing today. Troubleshooting. Just getting the button battery out here. Same procedure, by the way, getting the button battery out. Make sure, computer power supply is turned off and whatnot. Press the power button, make sure there's nothing in there. No power, stored anywhere. And turn the thing back on. And we aren't even going to put the button battery in. We'll just turn it on with the button battery unplugged to see what happens. But sometimes, actually, computers won't post if you don't have a button battery, and I forgot about that. So, actually, we might need to put the button battery back in. It's a very real possibility. I've had some computers actually not post because I didn't have a button battery, or because the button battery was dead. I unplugged the computer, by the way. I'm supposed to probably not immediately put the battery in, but whatever. All right, let's try again. And we're going to have absolutely nothing happen, but we'll just stand here and pretend something is going to happen. But eventually, what's going to end up happening is we take the cooler back off the CPU, and we install the CPU that we put in the broken motherboard right down there. Yeah. Or actually, we might install a different CPU. No, well, while this sits here in boot loops, let's take a look at what CPU they sent us again. I forgot the name of it. Core 2 Duo 6400. I have no idea what CPU this is, but I think we're going to be using a Core 2 Duo 6400 today because beans, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, we'll just use nonsense words for this. Branch. We're going to use it because of beans. I didn't think I'd be cleaning off a CPU today in terms of thermal paste. Should have just worked right out of the box, but it's not. So let's just install the original CPU back into it. Let's make it nice and clean though. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect. Close enough. All right. So now let's quickly do nothing quick. Let's quickly do nothing. There we go. Now let's have some coffee. All right. So now that we've verified that nothing is going to work at this point, let's again turn off the computer and let's press the power button a few times here, just to make sure all the power is out of the computer. You probably don't have to do that, but I heard to do it, so I do it. Doesn't hurt. Again, twist all these CPU cooler tab pin things to the left. This one is actually in there quite strong. It's almost stronger than I am. I don't know how that works. Went in there pretty easy. It's like an engine oil filter. Goes in easy. Good luck getting it off. Need a special tool for that. Called a wrench. And it's not. A wrench isn't a special tool. Oh, I got my finger stuck in the fan. There we go. Okay. And I'll just stick the cooler somewhere up there. Make sure to rest it on the fan blades crooked because that's good for the bearings. Nope, not really. Okay. So now let's open up the motherboard casing again. Boom. And let's get this CPU out of here as well, somehow. Boom. In theory, again, it should have just worked, but it didn't. That's been my luck recently anyway, so whatever. Let's see. So how do I want to go about getting this out? I got thermal paste on my finger. Okay. I got this out right now in my hands. Let's see if I can put this in the motherboard here. And not drop it in there sideways because that's literally the worst thing you could possibly do. That probably is fine. I mean, it's broken anyway, so I mean that was like absolutely horrible what I just did there, but whatever. Whatever. All right, and now let's just not drop this thing. Let's see, how do I get a hold of this? Okay, CPU's in. I just focused on not dropping the Core 2 Duo inside of there. All right, so let's one more time just wipe it off, or not. Wait, one moment. Let's just one more time wipe it off. I kind of like how this CPU cooler doesn't require screws. Makes it a lot easier to swap out CPUs. Still not ideal to do it, but it makes it easier. And I don't have a long enough cable to go across the room and get thermal paste, so I'll set you down for a moment. I gotta get some thermal paste. Thermal paste acquired. Almost. I don't know how to open up the bottle. It's kind of stuck closed. Okay, there we go. I used the paper towel to open it. All right, and when it comes to putting thermal paste down, first I'm going to check the comments. Did I miss anything? No, I didn't. 1%, 27. So when it comes to applying thermal paste, it really doesn't matter what thermal paste you get. And when it comes to putting thermal paste on your CPU, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to make somebody mad. All right, there's absolutely no way around it. What I like to do is if it's cooler without thermal paste on it already, like if it's all clean, for example, a fresh slate, I go over and put thermal paste on the CPU and I rub it around with my finger, just so it's on everything. But in this case, we don't need to do that. Wait, the cap's right there. I'm just putting the cap on this. In this case, we don't really have to do that because I'm reusing some of the old thermal paste because it's good. I mean, I take off this so often it really doesn't matter. So I can't be bothered. Is that good that I can't bother to like do something properly because it's fine, kind of? I don't know. Either the Pentium D doesn't work in this or I need a BIOS update. I think it's probably a BIOS update. One moment. I'm trying to get this in here by hand. Let's see, that's probably in there. Let's see. I need two hands for this again. I'm sorry. I gotta set my phone down. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, it works better two-handed. All right, it I think is installed correctly. These extremely bent CPU pins or CPU fan pins, but it's good enough, I guess. It works. All right. In theory, it should work. One of these monitors is going to post off of now. I said one of these monitors is going to post off of now. I said one of these monitors is going to post off of now. I think it's like boot looping currently. Nope. Well, this is how it came stuck, so... Huh. Oh, it's turning back on again. I wonder if it doesn't like the 970. It's a possibility. I have this. I can try this out. But really, I think it's the RAM. But it's not really posting. So, just turn that off for a moment. Give it a minute here to power everything off. Let's just unplug one stick of RAM and see what happens. We will leave the RAM closest to the CPU. And that will essentially do nothing. I have two monitors installed with two different cables, so if one of the cables doesn't work, I always have another cable plugged in, so that gets that problem out of the equation at least. So essentially what we have here is still nothing, which is not ideal. It's actually still boot looping. Ideally, you don't want it to be boot looping constantly forever, indefinitely. It is possible that it starts working though. That's not out of the realm of possibilities. Like it's on right now. Just give it a moment here. It's still on. And now it revs up the fans. Now it's back down to nothing almost. Huh. So let's turn the what's it called? Not fan. Let's turn off the computer again. And let's unplug one more RAM slot. And grab a different RAM stick and plug it in somewhere else. Further away from... Why isn't it going in? It's the right way, right? Yeah. It's just I'm putting it in wrong. Alright. RAM is installed. Power supply back on. And now let's watch it not post. My feet are getting sore from standing. You know what? Let's sit down while we watch it not post. There we go. This double measure properties. Deactivate, activate. Yeah, okay, it definitely is activated. And it still is boot looping. One thing I can try is swapping out this BIOS battery for the one that's in there, because I'm destroying my fingernail, because come on. The battery in there might be dead, causing the thing to not turn on. It's a very big possibility. I've had it happen in the past. We got a cart on the wheel, or a chair on the wheel. No. We have a chair on the cable. Okay. Power supply back off. Let's just double check. That's in firmly. This is also in firmly. We only have 4 USB slots. I thought we had more than that. Either way, how do I remove this? I just have to take the... Wait, one moment. I have to take out the... how do I do this? What did I just do here? Are you sure you want to stop streaming? No, I'm not. So what I need to do here is push that. Nope, I have to unplug the graphics card. Let's do that actually. You know what? Let's just go full unplug here. I'm taking the whole graphics card out. No, actually I am stabbing myself and making horrible sounds out of connectors, while simultaneously dropping things on the ground. Okay, one moment. All right, graphics card is retrieved. We're going to unplug the BIOS battery and plug in the other one. I'm just going to give it a few minutes here. While we wait, we're going to install the amazingly powerful, slightly slower than GT710 NVIDIA Quadro 600. I'm kidding, by the way. I mean, it is a 600, but by no way, there's no measurable way to say this is powerful. Unless you compare it to like a computer from 1899 or something, then yeah, maybe it is powerful, but no, it really isn't. All right, new button battery in, and now watch it post. I don't know why it would, but I mean, I don't really think there's anything else that it could be at this point. I know it's not the power supply. I've tried different ones of those. It will not turn on this computer screen, by the way. It will only turn on to this one. Why? What? What did I do? F. Enter to, yeah, enter. I don't have a keyboard installed. Why did that work? Computers have not been a thing since 1899. In 1899, there was computers. They were the ones you like, calculators. Like they have the things you slide and stuff like that. Like what is it called? Paragram? Not paragram. I don't remember. I don't remember the name of it. So what we're saying is we replaced the CPU when the graphics card was not causing it to post. Okay. Is that a computer? Back then, yeah, it was kind of a computer. It was a human-controlled computer. Weird, yes, but it did exist. And I would say it's a computer. I mean, is it a true computer that plugs in and uses power and stuff? No, it's not. But it still is a computer, regardless. I'll just unplug the quad or graphics card real quick. Plug in the NVIDIA 790 or 970 or whatever this is, 970. I say whatever this is, and now it's going to be mad at me and not work or something. Just watch it. I gotta watch what I change for these graphics cards because they'll just stop working because of that. A while ago, I said, "Oh yeah, it's been great so far. It hasn't had any issues." Same day I said that, stopped working. Not this one, but yeah, just things like that happen. You have to ignore the fact that something works for it to actually work. And let's turn on the computer again and watch it not post with the 980 or 970 because I don't know. This is the trend today. I cannot think of any reason for it not. So it was a button battery. It just doesn't post with no button battery. Is that what is going on here? Wait a minute. Okay, we took the button battery out. I'm holding it in my hand. Press power button a few times. Turn that on. Is it going to post with the button battery out? Yes, it is. Well, why? I don't know. I have no idea. And I'm fine with that. Okay, whatever. Whatever. All right, let's plug in more RAM. All right, RAM installed. Watch it not posting now because it seems to be one of those computers. I had the graphics card installed right the first time. I looked at it. It was definitely installed right, so there was no reason for it not to work. I installed more RAM and now it's not posting. Is it possible that both of these motherboards have memory issues? Because I know my RAM works. Well, I think it works. I don't know. take it out. Stick a different stick in. I don't know, I'm getting tired. My feet are getting sore. Let's see. All right. And let's turn it on and watch it post now. Oh. What in the world? Okay. So we are not going to post with RAM inside of there. So that means either we have a dead memory channel or the RAM slot is just dirty. Let me see. Does it look dirty by... No, not really. I'm just rubbing my finger inside of here with my fingernail just to see if I can like get any gunk out of there. I kind of doubt I am. Let's turn this thing on with no RAM. No, with one RAM in it, because that one RAM we know is working. So let's try that. Oh, come on. I mean, I've changed nothing. It was working like this before I added the RAM. Well, I have no idea. I've quite literally changed nothing. I reverted it back to what it was, and that was it. Okay, let's turn this thing off. And let's switch this to here. There we go. Okay. Well, what am I doing wrong? I don't know. Let's try unplug the BIOS battery again, which is going to do nothing. The BIOS battery is out. Power button a few times. BIOS battery in. Just double check, triple check. I got this in right. Let's take it back out. Put you back in. Power switch on. Power button on. Just verify. We are 100% plugged in. Well, I have no idea. Okay, well, let's toss in the Quadro again. I don't know. It's definitely not working. I mean, the Quadro we saw work. I mean, we saw the 970 work, but I don't know. Maybe it likes quadros. Maybe I don't. No, that's no, that's not it. I don't know. Let's see. Two-handed operation. Boom. Come on. Get out of here. Oh. This is a two-handed operation to get these graphics cards out. Smaller one wasn't that bad, but the big one, the big graphics card, it's a most definitely a multi-handed job. What in the world have I done? Oh, the springs just went flying across the room. That's fine. The little dampener you told me about, yeah, that just went flying. So, and no more dampener. Oh well. So this right here has to work. I mean, this worked before, so I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of just getting tired of this for today, though. But yeah, let's see. No posts. Oh, what in the world is going on? I have no idea. Okay, what about put the RAM back in the slot I started with? The slot meaning the farthest away from the CPU. Let's try again. Again. Let's try again. And watch it proceed to work now because why not? Or not. Well, I have no idea. I am stuck. It was working, but then it decided, no. Let me get that straight here. So it was not working, then it decided to work, and then it decided to not work. Huh. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. So I mean, it's not broken. It's not working. It's not the power supply. I know the power supply is no one working. RAM, no one working. It works in other AMD PCs, just not the LGA PC for no apparent reason. CPU is not no one working, but we just saw it work. The Pentium D is known to be working. We tested that in it. The GTX 970 is known working. We tested out the Quadro 600, which is also known working. We got a signal out of both of them, just not consistently. Yeah, I'm kind of stumped. Maybe I could spray the RAM slots with contact cleaner, maybe? Is that something that, like, can work? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of stuck with this one for today. But I'm getting tired. It's like 4 in the morning. And I have stuff to do tomorrow. I installed a brand new evaporative cooler. It actually works pretty good. Well, no. It works horribly, but it works amazingly. It's actually a quite professional looking install, I must say. I'm pretty happy with it, but it doesn't work, kind of. So an evaporative cooler basically sucks wet air. No, it sucks air through a wet sponge, basically, and it cools down the air between 0 and 40 degrees, depending how humid it is outside. If it's less humid outside, it works better. If it's more humid outside, it works less good. In the desert here in California, they tend to work good up to about, I don't know, right around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, right around there. The old cooler I had is rated for 600 square feet, but the house is 1,600 square feet. If math works right, 600 and 1,600 are slightly different numbers. Yeah. So I got one for free a while ago. It's for 2,000 square feet, which is 400 square feet larger than this house is, which is a good thing, probably. It blows significantly harder, like extremely harder. Like, it startles me whenever I turn it on because it blows so hard. It only had 2 working speeds. It had low and high, but my dad played with wiring today. It took him like 4 minutes and he got medium to work. I have no idea how wiring works. By the way, the computer's still not on. I'm just leaving it alone for right now just to see if it works, but no, it's not. But yeah, let's see. The problem is I don't have pads. I don't have the big sponges to run the cooler. I can run it with outside air currently. I mean, it's okay. The whole thing is outside air, no matter what you do. But like, I'm running it with unfiltered air currently, just from the outside, and it means it's blowing in the same temperature air as outside. But I mean, it worked quite good. The house was pretty warm today, and I turned it on, and it cooled it down quite quick. When it was cool outside because the sun went down, but it was still hot inside the house, so that was nice. I got the float set up. I got the water pump set up. I replaced the pump. I got the float set up, and I got the water hooked up to the float. But yeah, the sponges. So this one uses honeycomb sponges. Most evaporative coolers use aspen sponges, and some use polyester sponges. Polyester is the worst. Aspen is the second worst, or second best. The aspen ones, they cool better than the polyester ones, but they dump. Okay, aspen, it's basically just a bunch of ground up shreds of weeds. That's basically all it is, and it's in a mesh bag. All the weeds in the mesh bag just kind of slowly fall out, and it makes a big mess in the cooler. It's not that good. I mean, it cools decent, but it's just not great. And then we have the honeycomb ones. They work better in terms of cooling, and they aren't as messy either, and they're actually able to make the air cooler. Okay, I said that twice. Downside, the costs. So this machine actually is made for the honeycomb filters. That if you put the aspen filters in, it doesn't work too good. And the honeycomb ones are $110 for a cardboard filter. Yeah, you heard that right. Yeah, but I got the filter. I ordered it. Home Depot said, yeah, the honeycomb filter, we have it. If you order it within an hour, it will arrive February 24th. Okay, it's going to arrive at the store February 24th. I'm fine with that. And then somewhere else it said, it might arrive May 3rd. We don't know. Or March 3rd, my bad. Okay. Well, then February 25th comes around. I get a message on my email that says, hey, your filters are moving. The estimated delivery is February 15th. Okay, that's good. That means it's going to come. The state says it's going to come. It's 1 day late, but whatever. Well, what happens? Well, they go from Paris, California, which is like 20 miles from me, to Redlands, California, which is like 60 miles from me. And then it goes to Yucaipa, California. Or no, not Yucaipa. I mean Yucca Valley, California, which is 90 miles away. It still says it's going to arrive February 25th. The problem is, it's February 26th now. It still says it's going to arrive February 25th. But then if I look somewhere else on the same exact website page, it says it's going to arrive May 3rd. And then they said May 7th one time I refreshed, and now it says May 3rd again. So I might just have a big gaping hole in the window for a long time. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I offered to just drive there and get it. I mean, it's not that far. It's like 88 miles. I like the drive over there. It's nice over there. It's like, oh yeah, if I could drive over there and get it, no big deal. Yeah, no, they're shipping it to the stores. They're shipping it to the warehouses. So you can't just drive over and get it, which is kind of annoying. Well, actually, let's check the email right now and see what it says. Reload. Yeah, no, we got no emails about it right now, which doesn't surprise me. It's 4:30 in the morning. I'm not expecting them to be out shipping filters around at 4 in the morning, but yeah. So I don't know what's going on with that. That's going to be fun. My third channel, Extra Lock, I'll probably make a review on that swap cooler as it gets warmer outside. Today it's only supposed to be about 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's useless making a review on it because, well, I don't have the filters. It's not going to work. So the first hot day of the year is kind of a bust. But once it does start getting hot and I have the filters, I am going to make some reviews on it, see if it actually works good in the summer. I have a review on the Champion 600 square foot one I used last summer, but it's not nearly as good. This one is a lot better. I'm tired. The Champion, no, not Champion. So when I tested the Champion, it was cooling at around 25 degrees, the air, but it was struggling to keep the house cool because it wasn't quite strong enough. So hopefully this one actually is strong enough, maybe? I don't know. I tested the Champion when it was about 110 degrees Fahrenheit outside. So I'll just wait until it gets that hot, probably in July, to make the review. Maybe. Or maybe before. I don't know. It depends how warm it gets. But yeah. I guess that is it for this live stream. I've been rambling on for quite a long time. If we flip the camera around, still sitting there doing whatever that is. I don't know. It's broken. But yeah, for now, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for watching Expult, and thanks for watching Windows 98 Future Edition, or Windows 98. And also, thanks to Ren Schultz for being a member for 5 years. That's absurd. Thanks, Ren. That's awesome. Extremely awesome. Astronomically awesome. Indecisively, astronomically, exclusively awesome. Yeah. Well, okay, Ren's not a member on this channel, but he's a member on the Lock.2 channel, so close enough. I mean, it's still me, regardless. Oh, yeah. If you want to help support the channel and help support me buying more of these computers, hopefully one of them someday works, yeah, becoming a member is a good way to help. I also could use it for gas money for other videos I make. I make videos driving around as well. So if you like driving videos, that'd be appreciated. I don't need it though, but if you want to, you can do that. I don't like asking for it though. I don't need any help, but it's always welcome. But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I don't feel like ending the live stream off, but I don't feel like live streaming. I think I'm going to go to bed. Oh yeah, I've been live streaming now for an hour, 1 hour 49. Let's just say an hour 50 minutes. 1 hour 50 minutes. My phone went from 40% to 20%. And and it's been plugged in the entire time with the cable. So that's neat. I lose about 10% an hour plugged in when live streaming and using the camera. I guess that's not too bad. I mean, considering it's on it's charging out of the Dell Optiplex. So, I don't know. Either way, yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and have a great day.